Welcome to the backyard farm. So the next thing that we've got to consider when we're doing our amending is how are we going to measure this stuff out? So today we are going to talk about volumetric measuring.
Volumetric measurement uses things that we have around the house, like measuring cups. What this is we're going to take our individual 4x4 area or some of our smaller measurement areas. We're going to see how many square feet we got, and we're just going to apply a certain volume of the product per square foot. So the great thing about the system that we're doing this year in applying 3 applications in a year is that we don't have to rely on a single application to give us all the nutrients that we need over the entire season, which can sometimes be a little bit too much for our young plants at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, especially if they're coming straight out of something like an easy cloner and you've got a large amount of fresh root mass. You actually might want to prune some of that root mass off. Make sure that it's going into a well-balanced, not hot soil.
What we're doing here is we're building a higher nutrient density soil. And hot soils are what we consider something that has a lot of immediately biologically available nutrient that if it's too much can actually cause damage to the plants instead of just feeding them.
And that high temperature will actually fry off fresh root systems.
Exactly. And that can definitely cause serious problems. So we want to avoid that absolutely at all costs.
So we wanted to show you the least ideal conditions so you know how to tackle any scenario.
Preparation of the area is super important so that when we get those amendments in there and we add that additional soil on top, that it's got a nice clean base underneath of it so that we can plant directly into it and not have to worry about it later in the year.
Another main thing that we're gonna consider is what did we plant last fall?
The easier portion of this is if there was nothing in here, we could just kind of tear everything up, but we do have to be a little bit more careful because of those plugs that are in there. We've got another bed over here as well that has some bulbs in it for some annual flowers that we use to attract pollinators as well. We don't want to damage those in this process, so we're going to show you how to do it gently but effectively.
As you can see here, we've got all of our garlics are popping up. These are the red Cherokee garlic, and right off the bat you can see a weed. This is a really important time of the year to just go ahead and stop these things where they lie and get them out of your bed. This is a good chance to be able to eliminate any tubers or any root-based vegetable or crop that you've planted in the past. So make sure you're mindful about what you plant and mindful about what you do during the tilling phase to not spread invasive species. Some of the other things that we want to consider when we are doing our amending is how much volume are we working with of actual tillable garden bed versus nutrients that we're trying to apply. Since we have sown the garlic down the edges of these beds, it will affect the amount of nutrients that we're applying to these beds because we cannot till onto the area where the garlic is growing.
So what we're going to figure is for this 4x4 area, we're going to consider about 6 inches off each edge. Instead of doing a weird number 3x3, we're just going to call it 10 square feet and do our measurements from there. That gives us a nice round number, so we'll have even numbers of cups and half cups and things of that nature.
The last step would definitely be to pull any tags or zip ties or non-biodegradable items, garden supplies that you were using last year via canopy support or other.
Exactly. We're going to be tilling this dirt in there, so we don't want any of those plastics down inside the dirt causing problems in the future. Things like zip ties,
labels,
plant tags.
While we are out here doing soil amending, I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about bone meal. You've got your weight to volumetric conversion right here on the back of the bag. As their recommendations, they want 1 pound basically per 10 square feet. That is a lot. I'm just going to do 1 cup of bone meal per 4x4 section. When we look at sulfur, there's often 2 main types: sulfur for soil and sulfur for spraying. When we look at sulfur for soil, it's often a lot of times more granular, chunky, and it has a lot slower breakdown time. Versus sulfur for spraying is a lot more micronized and able to solubilize into a sprayer much easier.
Please like and subscribe. Thanks for the daily family.